As guitar players, we can sort of skip the line when it comes to music theory. You know, learn a few things from our friends, watch some YouTube videos, download some tabs, and get some decent early capability. But getting real musical control over the instrument suggests that we actually do need to pay attention to the rules, at least a little bit. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. Today we will answer the question, what does diatonic mean? There are a lot of rules in music theory, which is really one of the reasons why people have a hard time hooking on, right? Especially folks who get to the instrument a little bit late or feel like studying music theory is going to be like retaking middle school geometry. And it sort of is like that, but it's the simple part of geometry: triangles, circles, squares, that kind of stuff. It's actually pretty easy. But I want to show you an idea where we can actually integrate the idea of music theory without doing a lot of studying. There's going to be a couple things to memorize, a little bit of work to do, but from there, it's really about using your brain and thinking a little bit and listening as you play. So I'm going to explain what diatonic means. Then I'm going to explain why this is valuable for us as guitar players. Then we're going to zoom in. I'm going to put those ideas directly on the fretboard where they belong. Okay, so what is diatonic? Diatonic is just a fancy word for saying staying in one key, meaning that all the notes and the chords that you use are from one key. When I zoom in, I'll explain how a key is generated. But if you want to see a detailed overview, I did a video a while back on that subject. It's actually pretty good. You should check that out. Basically, every key is made from the 7 notes of a major scale. Those are major keys. And minor keys are made from the 7 notes of a minor scale. Those notes are then combined into chords, and that forms the key. So why is this valuable? Music is all about generating musical tension, generating and resolving musical tension. That's why we have emotional responses to music, right? It's creating that tension and resolving it. That makes us feel the emotions we feel when we hear music. The diatonic structure, the structure of a key, is the easiest way for us to start understanding how that works and what the mechanisms are to create and resolve that tension. This system, the diatonic system, has been used for centuries to create fabulous and moving music. Being able to understand and then control this diatonic system gives you a huge advantage for understanding how music works, for learning new songs, and actually for creating your own music. I'm going to use the major scale to demonstrate this diatonic system, but in order to incorporate the idea, learning the scale is just the first part. Let's zoom in and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so playing diatonically is playing inside of a key. Let's just quickly cover what a key is. That's the A major scale. Any major scale generates what's called a key. And the way it generates the key is that these notes, the 7 notes of the scale, can be repurposed and combined to create chords that belong to each one of the notes in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can generate chords off of each one of the notes in the scale by, again, repurposing and combining these notes. So when we do this, we end up with a series of chords that's very, very unique. Off of the first note, we build an A major chord. The second note in the key is B. We build a B minor chord there. The third note in the key is C sharp. Another minor chord here on the third note. The fourth note is D. We build a major chord here. The fifth note is E. We build another major chord here. The sixth note is F sharp. We build a minor chord off of the 6th degree. The 7th degree is G sharp. We build a diminished chord there. So as you can see, these are all the chords in the key, and they're generated from the notes of the scale. These 7 notes are repurposed and combined to make these chords. Now, the cool thing about this is that every single major key, since the scale is the same, this pattern of chords remains the same for every single key. So for example, if I just take the note names out, and we We go down to G, and I just put in the G major scale. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. As you can see, the chord types and their order hasn't changed, right? Let's go back to A. Which means all you have to do is learn this once. Once you learn this thing, this diatonic thing, the key, right? How a major key works. You only have to learn it once, then you can cut and paste it wherever you want in any of the 12 major keys. However, if you only know the scale here, you're limited to just this part of the neck, right? And that's not a lot, right? That doesn't give us a lot of opportunity. Along with this series of chords and the way a key works, you really have to map that key, that scale, across the entire fretboard. So I'm going to show you what a full mapping of the A major scale looks like on the fretboard. So that's the A major scale across the entire fretboard, right? I've mapped that out, I can see it. I've only had to learn it once. I can do that same thing for any key, key of G, key of C, D, whatever, right? Once you have that mapping down, now you can see all these chords, you can build all these chords anywhere you want to on the fretboard, right? So this is a holistic pairing of understanding how the key works and then actually technically mapping it to the fretboard. From here, you can actually operate diatonically. Now let me show you what that means. I'm going to go back to the etude I played at the top. I'm just going to play the first few phrases, and then I want to break them down for you and show you what I'm talking about. Let's just take those phrases, for example. I'm going to stay on the D, G, and B string here. And as you can see, I'm playing like chords and then a melody, chord and then a melody, and then chord and then a melody and a chord, right? I'm actually only using these 7 notes. And I'm using the chords from this key to generate this little piece of music, right? So on the D, G, and B string, I'm playing an A chord here, playing the chord, and then I'm playing a little melody after it. This melody are just the notes in the scale. So I'm playing the chord, and then the melody notes that are right by the chord, right in front of them, right above the chord that are in the key. That's my A chord. Now I'm just going to go to the D chord. That's the 4 chord here. I'm going to play this D chord, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to play the chord, and then play a melody using the notes that are right above it in the key. Now I'm going to go to the 5 chord, that E chord, and do the same thing. Chord and then play a melody using the notes that are in the key, that are in the scale right above the chord. Chord, scale tones, chord, scale tones, chord, scale tones, and then chord again. This is another A chord. So I just went A, D, E, A. Right? Chord, scale tones, chord, scale tones, chord, scale tones, and chord. So as you can see, I'm taking one idea and I'm just pushing it through the scale. Right? Now for the next part of the etude, I just simply do it backwards. I just play the chord and the melody notes below it. And then I end on an E chord here. Same thing now, I switch to F sharp minor. Same idea, same 3 strings, same concept. Chord, scale tones, to the E chord here, chord, scale tones, chord, scale tones, and chord. And then at the end, just to break it up a little bit, I add some notes on the E string, and I play a long A major 7 arpeggio at the end. It sounds like this. But the takeaway here is that I've just used the mapping of the scale, the things I know about these chords, and I've just written a little etude using a very, very simple idea. Chord, scale, tone, chord, scale, tones, chord, scale, tones, and chord, right? And I just pushed it through that fabric, right? That fabric of the scale. In doing this, you really get to understand how keys work. This makes learning new songs super easy, and it makes fabricating your own music extremely simple. Okay, so instead of just guessing at what chords might sound good together, or what chord might be next in the song you're learning, the diatonic system affords you a set of chords that is proven to work very, very well together. That demonstration was just for a major key. The same thing works for minor keys as well. Once you get this idea down and you can generate a key, a major key or a minor key, you now have the freedom to draw on these proven sets of chords that work really, really well together. From there, you can start incorporating ideas like secondary dominant chords and all these advanced ideas, borrowed chords, pivot chords. These are chords that work in more than one key. But you really can't get to that kind of stuff effectively until you've got the major scale and this diatonic system working really well. I've tabbed this lesson out, and that includes that large mapping of the major scale, of the A major scale across the entire fretboard. That's super valuable. If you want to grab the tabs, head on over to my Patreon page. Right now, there's a 7-day free trial on my Patreon page, so you can see everything that I've got to offer, and you've got nothing to lose. If you do decide to support the channel, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. As always, I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found this useful. Stay curious. I'll see you next time.